As the town of Evergreen has grown, it has been struggling to provide urban services because it's an unincorporated town. While unincorporated towns provide basic municipal services including election administration, property tax assessment, billing and collection for counties, schools, and themselves, roadway construction and reconstruction, recycling, EMX, and fire protection, other services including law enforcement, solid waste collection, land use management and zoning, and other municipal services are not always provided and sometimes fall back to the counties to administer. In some cases, this can mean that the quality of the services isn't as good or the services aren't provided at all. Though Evergreen is the largest community in Nicolet Bay County, it does not offer the robust level of services that Couillard Shores does. All homes have their own well and septic services, which limits how much further the community can grow. The town of Evergreen has voted to incorporate, lobbied the state legislature to do so, and the legislature is allowing them to incorporate into the city of Evergreen. With this, Kara Begay, the first mayor of Evergreen and the wife of Ben Begay, had a discussion with Governor Johnson at the incorporation ceremony, asking for recommendations about good urban planning firms to develop a plan for the community. Governor Johnson recommends her favorite planning firm, Sterling Planning and Design, the planning arm of Sterling Development in Verde Beach. They specialize in comprehensive plans like the plan Kara is asking about. Kara brings the idea to the city council and gets approved to bring Sterling Design in to design the city, and they get to work. In today's episode, we're going to lay out the new community based on Sterling's plans. We're also going to add another roundabout right about here in what locals are lovingly calling Roundabout Row. And then we're going to add a new government complex right in the city center, right about here. And at the very end, we're going to go through some naming suggestions for the streets, so stick around until then. And we're going to start out by making a few fixes based upon your feedback. And if you like that Evergreen is becoming a city, please hit the like button. And if you wish that it would have stayed a town, well, hit the like button for that as well. And drop an emoji letting me know what you think about Sterling Planning and Design being the ones responsible for laying out the city. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to continue following the story of Nicolet Bay. And without any further ado, let's jump right in. Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Evergreen in Nicolet Bay. And that feels weird to say, the city of Evergreen, but that is where we are at now. So I'm really excited to start implementing Sterling Planning and Design's plans for this area, but I feel like before we do that, we've got to take a look at a couple of fixes because these fixes could have an impact on our traffic flow and ultimately the amount of money in our city's coffers, which is going to be really important because we're going to be building a lot today. So the very first fix I want to take a look at is one from TG, who had an issue with the location of this inner city bus station. So I agree with the first half of this comment that this location is going to be really bad for congestion. The second half I disagree with a little bit, and I'll explain why. So the first half, this is one of our busiest freight corridors in the entire city, and if we take a look at our traffic flow, it is red. That is not great. Our traffic flow is, though, 82, not bad. We are dumping all of our buses in the entire city right onto this road. That is less than ideal, especially when the fix is just calling a little bit of a mulligan. And then we end up with a really nice solution here. So let's pop back on over here. We're going to move this and just face it towards this other road. And here's what this does for us. A couple of things. First of all, let's go and move it. We're going to Control H this to make sure that our height is correct. And then we will modify our bus routes. So we'll come through here because now they're parking behind this building. We'll pull them into this lot. And we need to modify some of our bus routes to best take advantage of this. But what we've done is ensure that all of the bus routes are taking advantage of this road as the primary bus facility. Now that's really helpful because then we're not commingling all this traffic. A couple of things that we can do to improve this. Let's remove these bus stops here, which concentrated our bus routes. Now that is really helpful for us because we can take advantage of some of our new bus roads. So in particular, I'm interested in this 4-lane road with buses. And we are going to pop on through and upgrade this segment of the highway as a bus road. And then here, there was a comment made that basically no one could walk to this bus facility. And I agree, we should allow that. We don't really need it because we have our buses coming through here, but I like the idea of having pedestrian connections anyway if we can. So we will upgrade this little segment of highway through our facility here, and now someone could walk all the way to this inner city bus facility if they wanted to. You can see that we have some bushes blocking the road. So we'll just pull this right here, get our buses really close to the road, not a big deal. And let's do a little bit of cleanup. Now, one of the reasons I like spinning this around is now this feels like a bit of a kiss and ride lot. So you could come through here, take a spot temporarily, kiss your spouse or significant other, let them get on the bus and go on your merry way. Or it could be a park and ride. You're heading out of town. Let's say you are going over to Van Buren. You could park here, get on a bus, take the bus to Van Buren and leave your vehicle here. Before that wasn't really as much of an option, and now it feels like it is, and I like it. What I don't like is that crazy change in height. Let's see if there's anything that we can do. The height of realism is just bend this to your will. It'll be fine. Maybe one of our problems, now that I think about it, as we added these stops right here, we've created a situation where buses are bunching in this particular location. So let's scoot back at least one of the routes. And now they're at least not stopping at the same location. So now we're looking good here. Let's see our traffic flow, 74 still. And that is because of this area right here, which we will certainly address later on in the episode. But we've got one fix that we have to address now. And that is, if we take a look here, our plain timber looks pretty good. But the Angry Bird makes an excellent point. This requires the planed timber resource, and we don't really have very much of that occurring in the community. We got 2 sawmills over here, but our real concern is not the sawmills. It's actually our lack of storage. So we have one small warehouse and we have it set to empty. So what that would mean is I believe that we are exporting 100% of our plain timber and then we're importing it at the factory itself. So that's why there are long periods where we just don't have any timber to actually bring over here. So we're going to set this to balanced. And then I want to do something over here as well. So we have all of these dummy assets over here. I guess they're not dummy assets. They actually are industrial assets that have employees, but we're going to eliminate them in favor of a warehouse. So I see we've got some lumpies and bumpies. We got to take care of those. And now I'm going to go into move it, hold down Alt so we can just click this right over. And now let's look at our warehouses, because I think this is where we could have an opportunity to add another warehouse. We have the warehouse yard and the small warehouse. I know that this one right here, the medium warehouse, that's too much. We would have to eliminate this building over here entirely. We've got this one right here. It fits okay. Then we've got this one, also fits okay. But there's a big difference between these. The warehouse yard is $64 a week in upkeep, very inexpensive, $4,000 to set up, and has 10 trucks. That's fine. But this one right here is twice the cost, twice the vehicles, twice the upfront cost, but the capacity is significantly higher. So instead of 100,000, we get 250,000. So we're going to go with this one right here, the pollution, the noise pollution, which is another concern. If you were going to place this in an area that is prone to noise concerns, is the small warehouse, multiple of those would be better for you, but it doesn't really matter right here. I just appreciate that we've got more vehicles operating this and we can store more goods. So we're going to set this to our resource, plain timber, keep it on balance. We're fine there. And then we'll fill in this little gap here, being real careful so that we still have a place to grow our weeds and flowers. So there we go. And now this is good and set up. And I think that's going to work really well for us. Between the two of these, we should be able to keep this factory completely stocked full of plain timber and hopefully keep our budget in a positive place. In fact, I'm going to let this go for just a second on our second speed. The reason for that is we are about to spend a ton of money. So there's one more comment that I wanted to address, and this is from Ether. Ether says that the roundabout over here seems a little bit off, and it is. Our lane marking is absolutely crazy. We're going to be doing some more stuff to this roundabout, so I'm going to hold off on making significant changes over here and spending a lot of time on it. So with that, we're going to move on to implementing the Sterling Planning and Design Plan. And what would happen is the planning firm would come into the community and they would say, we are not the experts about your community. We want to know what you see as the future of your community. What are communities that you really like? What are features of those communities that you would love to see in your community? And the neighborhoods would get together, the community would get together, and they would give a whole bunch of examples of things that their favorite communities have. So maybe park spaces, maybe certain roads, and widths of roads that suit them well. And one thing that is going to continually come up here is Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. People love driving along Lakeshore Drive, a beautiful view of the water, but some will rightly bring up that it really takes the public waterfront and turns it into a highway. That said, it will win out, and part of the reason it'll win out is that Sterling Planning and Design says it is a wonderful idea. They are people pleasers, and they are pleasing the people. So we are going to build a highway right along here, basically, with an arterial couplet. So one of the reasons that the planners are going to say that this is a great idea is that if we look in our community, there's no true roadway hierarchy. Things are happening, and there is hierarchy. If we take a look at our traffic flow, you start to see that it's happening, but there's no prioritization. And as a result, you get some of these situations where there are all these different paths and people are taking the one that suits them at that particular time, trying to avoid all of the crushing traffic. In fact, when you look at our traffic flow dipping down, this could be part of the reason why. So they want to build this couplet to be the arterial that serves this community with maybe a collector. And obviously this one right here would seem to be a great collector, and they could distribute the traffic to these arterials that are going to be looping all the way around here and coming into this roundabout. So let's get working on that. We're going to go through, use this right here, this 2-lane, one-way road with wide sidewalks. This will not have parking, and we don't want parking. We're going to run through here, and what we're going to focus on is we have got this beach here. We do not want our zoning to overlap the beach at all. So we'll set that here, and then I'm going to run this around, and we've got plans for certain things. So the beach is one of those things. We want to make sure that we preserve the beach so that we can have a really nice public beach in the future. And we're using all of the tools at our disposal right now. So the curved road tool, the freeform tool to create lovely connections along the coast, follow that coastline. We're gonna come down here. I'm gonna turn off our roadway guidelines for just a moment. We'll come down 30 to have a nice straight connection through here. And then I want to we're going to turn our road guidelines back on. So freeform will bring this on over, and then we'll use our curved road tool, find our guideline and bring that right in. Now, this is really hard to see with the trees popping through. We will eliminate some of these. Now, what we are going to do is grab this connection here, use our curved road tool to make that connection. Now, this is really challenging to figure out exactly where this directionality is going. This is going to be our right-hand lane, so this will need to go in this direction. We'll get all of these upgraded. And this road will eventually be updated, but we've got to make our parallel connection first. So for this, we're going to go into our Unified UI Network Multi-Tool, create parallel mode, which is either Alt-2 if you have a numpad, or it's me clicking in there because I don't, and I will probably never have a numpad because I'm one of those people. I like my small keyboard. I don't know why. And you know, I've had people ask, how do you do productivity things? I use a full-size Mac keyboard, and I use my Mac as my daily driver, which I know will trigger some of you, but it's just a preference. We are going to spread this about, we got 25 because we want to have a parkway here. So we're going to have trees right in the center of here, making it a really unique place. And then we're going to take this. You might wonder why I didn't go all the way back. And the reason for that is we are going to go into our freeform tool eventually and pull this out. Then we'll use our curved road tool, find that road here, and bring this right in. So let's reverse the order, the directionality of this. And it looks like for whatever reason, some of these have been created as bridge segments. We're going to force these down to the ground, and then we'll get rid of all these trees. All right, now a couple more things you can do if you're not totally satisfied with the way that this turned out. So I'm going to go into our Unified UI Network Multi-Tool. We're going to go into Arrange at Line mode. Because we used our Parallel Road tool for this, you can do something really neat. So these are all of our nodes are totally parallel, and we can make some adjustments. So let's say I want to bring this over here and straighten out this little jaunt. We don't need that here. We test this one out. Oh, I like that even more. And we just mirror it on this side, and it'll pull it over and look exactly the same. So there we go. And I'm going to do something smaller over here. I like that a lot. We'll reverse that, and now we're looking good. And you can see the plan now. You can start to feel what's happening here, but we've got to do a little bit more. And what we're going to be able to do now that we have our new roads, our new 4-lane 2U roads, is we can upgrade this and turn this into an arterial. I'm pretty excited about that. We have an opportunity over here, but I want to make this connection first. So let's go ahead and make this connection. So I'll go into our curved road tool, come over here, nice connection, and then one more right here, right in right there. We'll upgrade this to be our 4-lane road, and then we'll go into our network multi-tool, square these up, and let's get rid of all of the crossing stuff too. We don't need that. And then we will change our directionality here so it is correct. Go into our lane marking tool, get these lanes marked correctly, and then we'll create a filler for here. And I'll tell you why in just a second. We're gonna make this a grass filler and do something that feels very evergreen. So what we are gonna do is grab this tree here. Why don't we just pull that right on up here? And that'll be the symbol of the city. Maybe that is something that in the winter time, around the holiday season, gets decorated. And it's something that people in the community really, really appreciate and enjoy. The last thing we have to do here is go into TMPE and adjust our lanes, because right now you could hang a U-turn around there. That's not what we want to do. And I suppose I could have done Control S to stay in the lane as well, but I didn't do that. So there we are. Now, I didn't bring it over here because we've got some choices to make. And I think for the time being, our choice will be, let's just take this and make this a 2-unit road. Now, I'm going to turn the contours on because what you can see is we've got an opportunity here. We are above our train line. So rather than attempting to go into this as we have with some of our other connections, we're going to back this off and send a road right above this. So we're going to elevate this. We might even knock this up a couple of meters. Go across 4, and then we'll drop this down. Now I like that. I don't know. It's not even. We've got to fix that. So we will Control H, height down, and that looks way too low. Yeah, you got those wires going right in. So we might need to do something a bit more extreme here. So let's pop this up, and we'll pause this so we can see a train underneath. And that's about where we need to be. So that tells me one thing. This isn't going to work right here. And honestly, this whole row of homes may not work right here. So we'll start slow. I know that this one is, well, it's probably okay because it's facing on this street over here. So let's grab this road. We're going to send this in and hit M to go and move it. Pull this deep back here and then go into our network multi-tool so that we can add in a node because we're going to create a cul-de-sac. Now we've got our little cul-de-sac here. I'm going to pull this back to right about there. And that's helpful for us. Let's go again, and we're going to raise this up. Come through here and set the slope. Let's see how that height is. Still too low. I think that's pretty good. So now we will set our height to this and try to slope down and then see what the damage is to our little neighborhood here. There we go. So what we're going to do is set the height of this to line up. So this right here would stay down. Oh, that is awful ugly. And you can see that we've got some tearing, so we're going to have to do something more extreme. Let's add in one more node right here. And then if we slope this one, maybe it fixes everything for us. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's also not perfect, but it's not bad. I will slide this little house around a little bit. The height of realism. Slide the house to fit what you'd like to do. And now we can resume this again. And that's not perfect, but I think that we can live with that, especially when it gives us what it's giving us, which is a nice connection across the train tracks instead of through the train tracks again. That's been a problem for us. So let's talk a little bit about why we've done this. Again, this is our arterial connection over here. It just kind of dips off into the city, and now we've got another problem. So we're going to try to resolve this traffic problem again with a couplet. So we've got this couplet coming through here. Lovely. Now, you might wonder, how do we make this connection? We make it with eminent domain. So we are going to delete this road partially, and we will add in a connection Now this is going to be a fun little network multi-tool thing to do. And I don't know that it's going to let me do it. Might need to try again. And I know that we're going to cul-de-sac these already, so I will just eliminate those, and that will simplify this junction here. So there we go. That is how we're going to resolve this. And we will go into our node controller, fix that. Actually, I wonder if I delete this and then change it. Now we don't have our tearing there. Looks a lot better. Let's look at our nodes. I've added a number of nodes inadvertently through here. That's pretty darn good. I think we're going to roll with it. So what we'll do here is we're going to grab this, hold this down so we can reach all of our homes. Same thing here. Same thing here. And what we've actually done is made some pedestrian connections through here. So I like the idea of that. And then we'll come through and add in our bulbs. So I like to not have an error, not lose this node. I like to leave at least one dash in between. And now we'll come through with our network multi-tool, click on this, and we need to go into our stretch and make our stretch 150. We'll do that to all of these. And now we'll go into move it and just make sure that these work well. This one's pretty good. These ones are maybe a little bit too close. The height of realism again, just scooting those back to serve our needs. Now I'm going to come through with our lane marking again, and then we will add some lines through here. Now I'm noticing one thing right away, and this is why we didn't upgrade this. We actually have extra lanes. So I'd love it if we had a 1U road to send through here, but we don't. So we are going to just make this a 4U road and deal with it in our roundabout. The other thing that we could do is maybe have an asymmetric road here. I think leaving would be more challenging than coming into the city. Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Then we won't have to have quite as much shenanigans happening in here. It'll be a lot easier for us. So now we'll come into our lane marking and try to get this working. And same bit of shenanigans here. Put that tree there. That is what our community is. It's Evergreen. So now we've got a couple of weird little funky houses coming in here. I know that's probably not nice to call them weird little funky houses, but I think that they're weird. So we'll get rid of them. I don't like those 1U houses. In fact, at some point we are going to bring in our building themes mod back into this build. I see that it's working again, and I'm excited to bring that in because I really, really dislike these 1U homes unless they have space, which we doubt. They spawn right next to each other. They look absolutely atrocious, but that's what the game likes to give us. We'll just we'll take a little mulligan on those homes. There we go. So now you can see that we've got a layout that might be a little bit more logical through here. What we're going to do is slope up to here and make a connection through, and that will be another arterial connection. The consultant is very focused on this hierarchy through here because this is really the foundation of our future traffic flow. So we're planning ahead to make this work. So we're going to right mouse click at our top height, left at our bottom, and bring this right up here. We're going to send this back here. I think I might send this a little bit closer though. We'll maximize our developable land and minimize our impacts on our forest by pulling this over here. So I like that. I think that's reasonable in my mind. Now that we have this, we're going to pull this by. And the other nice thing that this does is we've got a lot of terrain here, and we've already got to do some work right here. We'll minimize the amount of work we have to do. The other thing that we could do with this is we could upgrade this to be a highway through here. I think that would make some sense. Let's do that. And then we are going to make sure that our slopes make sense. We've got that 9% right there, and we can smooth these all out to almost nothing. So that's exactly what we'll do. Looking very, very good. And oh boy, when we look at our contours, maybe it's not so bad. It's not so bad when you turn your contours off, but when you look at your contours, you can tell just how rough this location is. It's troubling to look at. That said, we don't need to look at it. We do need to look at this though. That is not my finest work. We're going to use again our range at line mode and just smooth that curve out, looking much better. Now you've got a nice highway connection back here, and I'm curious how well this will be utilized. Some passenger vehicles using this new connection, a little bit of freedom that they have here now. And then we will come through and we got to fix up this roundabout. Now here, we can't have proper lane math through here, which, you know, in one case it stinks, but at the same time, why would you ever want to overbuild your roads? So we will do some things here and not worry about it too much. So we'll dictate where these are supposed to go. And that's not the worst thing in the world. What we can do to try to improve this is we can adjust our lane markings. Feeling good about that. The last thing that we need to do is go through and ensure that we have our roundabout markings on. And then I want to lower the speed through here to be something reasonable. So we'll go 30 and then hold down shift. So the whole roundabout is now 30 miles per hour, which in my opinion makes a ton more sense. We should even slow down on the way into the roundabout. There we go. So it's slowing down. Same thing here. There. You don't need to race into the roundabout. We should change our speeds over here as well, because now you have people racing into a local road. That is absolutely crazy. So this isn't where this ends. We've got more adjustments to our roadway network to make here. But if we take a look at our traffic flow, I think we're already looking better. We're at 80%. That is the power of roadway hierarchy. But what about this road right here? I think that this is a very important connection through here, and we need to solidify that either with a bus road or with a 4-lane road. So what we're gonna do is come on through here. And again, thinking about roadway hierarchy, we have our cross connection. Otherwise we're relying on this highway back here, but people still need to get through this community. Now you gotta remember, there's not many connections that go all the way through. This one does not. This one has that break there because of this commercial building that's here. So this is really it for us. So we're going to relocate our bus routes to be here. Let's focus on bus roads first. We'll remove parking here and have a nice bus road and move our bus route to this road. And then here for this little short bit, we are going to go with a 4-lane road. So this branches off into these two different important roads. So I think having the extra capacity here would be a benefit. Now we're going to work on this area shortly, but not right now. And I noticed one thing over here while we were over here that I forgot to fix, and that is right here. We've got a node issue. We've got a pillar right in the middle of the road. I want to fix this one as well before we move on. And looking absolutely beautiful. The community would also be asked about other amenities that they'd love to see here. And I think one of those amenities would be parks. So we're not going to build this park today, but we're going to designate this park. So they want a fishing park. So this is a place where you could go and fish, sightsee a little bit. So we're going to build that right here. Now, what I want to focus on for the rest of the episode is creating our town center. This is our main gathering space in the community, and it's going to be very important to the community as a result. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to use our dirt roads because we're planning right now. We are not building permanent things. Now, in the past, we said that this was our main vista. So if we're using that as our main vista, we use the roads on either side to make our primary connections. So through here, we know that we're going to have some sort of park. So I hate to do this. We're going to need to do something to honor all the trees that we removed. And maybe through our naming conventions today, we'll do a little bit of that. Anyway, let's go ahead, and I want to level the pad here a little bit because I think that that would absolutely happen. Just feather this out just a bit. And now we've got a really nice building site with tons of wild animals on the prowl, wondering where all the trees went. And I feel for you, Wolfie. I don't know where they went. It feels very naked, very exposed. We are going to work on this park a little bit because this park is going to be part of what forms the backbone of our transportation network in this area. This is a large area. It's very large, but this is going to be very important for us. So let's go ahead. And what we're going to do is I see that our transportation network already isn't doing what I wanted it to. So we're going to eliminate a bit of this. All right, now we've got that looking much better. And the whole reason we did this is probably something pretty vain, but I wanted to use our nature reserve gate. We're gonna go for our small main gate. And we're gonna add this here right in the center, and that is going to be our park main gate right there. We'll get to that in the next one, but you at least see the vision for the area now. The reason this is so important for us is we are gonna add a connection right about here. And this is gonna be our main drag straight through here. So this is gonna be a very important facility, and I wanted to give it some prominence and a rationale. So now we're gonna come through here. We'll send this out straight, lining up, maybe 5 units. We'll get rid of our road guidelines. And then we will just send this in. 2 units, freeform tool, click in. 2 units, freeform tool, click in. And those should be identical. The reason that we care about this is we are gonna place a city hall. So let's see the number of units we have here. 22, so 11 is our center. We're gonna go up 5, bring it over 2. And then we're gonna place a very interesting building. I'm gonna start upgrading these. So here we go. We're gonna add in some buildings now. The very first thing that we're gonna add in is our taxation office. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, this tax office looks a lot like a city hall. So it's kind of an interesting thing. We've created a little loop here, and perfect. I really like that. You could come through here, come back and park. Wonderful. But we're not done yet. We're not done. We're going to keep going. What I want to do is extend this park space into this area and then have a park space behind it as well. This is going to be the most important part of our community. So the very first asset I want to add is kind of a war-looking memorial right here, the disaster memorial. I really like this one. We use this one in Verde Beach, and I think it turned out really, really well. And now we'll center this. We're gonna have pedestrian facilities connecting this, not this road. And then from here, I wanna do one more thing. So we're gonna bring in another unique building, and this one is gonna be interesting. I wanna bring in the Brandenburg Gate, but we don't have enough money right now. So what we're gonna do is speed this thing up, get this bad boy going, and start thinking about the rest of this area. So let's upgrade some of these roads. We're losing money right now. I'm hoping that's not because of traffic. Nope, it's not. So let's run this right along down here. For the time being, we're just gonna go with our most basic roads and not worry too much about it. And then we'll add some pedestrian facilities. This is one that we know that we're gonna have through here. And then we're gonna have some on the side of this as well. There we go. And now let's get some water pipes right underneath our roads, right where they belong. So we're going to consider this our catalytic project for the area. So we are going to add in a bit of zoning back here. And the interesting thing, you can see that we are not focusing on this road for zoning. I want to do that. This road does not matter nearly as much to me. So let's go ahead. We're going to upgrade this. And we're going to prioritize the older roads, see if that does the trick. That did not. So we'll prioritize the newer roads. Now that did the trick. Okay, so that did what we want. We want to make sure that everything's squared on this road. That's what matters. So we're making money again, but it's not great. But there are a few assets that I also want to use through here. We've got our music club, which I think could be a really unique asset here. So I'm going to take this music hall and spread it 4 units over. Okay, so we have the cinema. That's what we're going to add here now. And we'll use this as our 2 key buildings flanking the downtown area. And with that, we have run out of money, basically. So we are going to need to get something growing here. So let's go ahead and zone out this road. This is not my ideal way of developing this area, but I think we're going to roll with it. So I will add this through here as well. And in this area, we could continue our historic zoning pattern through here. And I think we will a bit. We want to be able to bridge our power. And, you know, this is not the height of realism, but that's going to be our primary motivating factor right now, is bridging our power. So we're just going to connect these up. And I think we're going to leave this block without a connection. So through here, again, residential. And we might leave a bit of space here for the time being while we figure out exactly what should be zoned in here. In this area, we will go for more residential, and then we've got to make sure that we've got water underneath the road here as well. I don't want to overdo this, because if we overdo this and we build too much, we're going to lock ourselves into something, and we're not there yet. I think that this would be a very iterative process, and we're seeing some of that iteration right now. So this, for instance, I think that we're going to extend this block through here. We need one extension. We can't just completely sever all connectivity through here because we have a rigid plan, but we will need to be a little bit thoughtful about that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to remove this node. That's an extra node again. And wow, some of these connections are just brutal. So what we're going to do here is we're going to straighten these out and then fix these ones. This is the priority movement through here. So what I've done is straightened it out, made these look a little bit better, but then I'm making sure that this curvature is still very clear in the road because that's the priority movement through here. And we're going to need to solidify that priority movement, but for the time being, I think this will be good enough. So you start to see the goal here. And what the goal is basically to make this feel like a pedestrian environment and have a couple of unique buildings through here. And I think that it really works well. I think it looks really, really nice. Now, some of these, the big bite, not so good. Again, when we go through and we customize our theme for this area, we'll be able to do a bit more, but for the time being, that's pretty good. Now, I do want to build the rest of what will be a pedestrian area for us. So let's get going on that. So we're going to go through and create a pedestrian district. Now, I haven't done anything with pedestrian districts. I think if I go through here, yeah, I can't do anything just yet. So we'll need to go ahead and create a pedestrian area. And that's going to be right here. Not going to be very big, though I am going to do this for the time being. So we're going to add our pedestrian service point, and we'll make that a building on Main Street because it's kind of an interesting looking building. I don't mind it. Actually, I do mind it. we're gonna pump the brakes on this and scooch this over to here once we extend our pedestrian district over. And now we can sever this. Okay, and I think that might be as good as it gets for us. So we're not going to get greedy with it. We've made this very small. So I just want to be able to teleport things. That's what we're doing. But I also don't want to overdo it. So we're not going to. Now through here, we're going to upgrade and have some of our pedestrian roads through here. And this is going to be a really special area. I'm going to go with the sandstone. I just really like, actually, no, we're going to go with our bluestone. It looks classy in my opinion. And if there are strong feelings about this, I know that there are very strong feelings about the pedestrian roads. I will take some of your advice. There we go. And I'm going to need to bring this into the district. I guess it is there. I don't know if this will actually work for our garbage collection or not. My guess is that it won't. So we are going to actually need to use a regular street right here, which is not what I wanted to do. That is the, we've got TMPE. What am I talking about? So we can modify this in TMPE. So we'll come through, look at our vehicle restrictions, and we can actually, garbage trucks look like they're okay here. So eventually this will be fine. Let's take out a loan because we love taking out loans. And I'm going to go for the big ones so that we can actually buy our unique building. And there we go. It's Brandenburg Gate. This will use up almost all of our money. Lots of entertainment, lots of noise pollution, lots of upkeep. It's going to be lots of everything for us. But it's also going to be very important. So I'm excited to bring this in because I think we can do some things with this. And this actually makes me want to switch over to the sandstone again. So let's go ahead and do that. And what we're going to do is run this pedestrian facility right up through here. We'll even cross the road so you can get right to the shore. Now, let's take a look at how this actually blends. Not great. You see, we've got this decal over the top. Not perfect, but we have Bob, Alt B. Click on Brandenburg Gate, and we're going to find this asset. And I think it's tiles. And you see, we've got lots and lots of things highlighted, and it looks like it's the tiles. We'll take the probability of the tiles spawning to 0. Click on this, and now we've created a Brandenburg Gate that you can walk through. How cool is that? I just love that. That's awesome. So we are a little bit off here. You can see that there's some odd stuff happening. Control H to the height of this. Looking a little bit better. And I like this. I think this looks really nice. We're going to see who is this? Holly Jones and Sabrina Blackwell have decided to admire Evergreen's Brandenburg Gate. Love it. Love it so much. We are going to send some pedestrian paths down here as well. And this will be an area that we do not develop. So we've got to keep that in mind. We'll probably leave this portion of the city completely clear as well. We'll designate that by adding this through here, and we can decorate this a little bit nicer in the future. But I really like that. Now along the side here, we can have other government facilities or maybe even some small office spaces. We currently do not have any educated Sims. So I don't know how this is going to work, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try. So there we go. And then on this road, we start to see our designation again for our next road in this area. So we're going to add this through. And this one's going to be a bit different. So we want to have a road right along the beach here. So we will add this, and then this road will turn in. So we'll go up 10 and then curve this over and use our curved road tool to make our final connection. There we go. Get rid of these trees and things are looking good. Looking real good. So I'm digging this. We need to finish our layout though, so we have a full idea of where things are going. And I think we want to mirror some of what we've already done that's been successful. So let's pull this up. Back here, we're going to add an alley. We don't want to connect this to anything, but we're going to add this back here for accessing these buildings. And I'm actually going to turn off zoning just on this road. There we go. So the other thing that we could do back here is turn this into a parking lot for the downtown area and then remove, well, I think that the on-street parking here would be absolutely necessary. If you tried to remove it, the businesses would go crazy. I think as a planner, I would say that there are locations where it's very important to have parking, and a main street is one of those locations. Look at that. We've got a wildlife spawn point here. We'll relocate that right there. Now the wildlife can come over here, spawn. You see them spawning too. We've laid most of this out. Let's get the rest of this, and we need to do something very similar over here. So for this one, we actually have the ability to have a full street. So I think we're going to roll with that. But we will not connect this up. We will cul-de-sac this, which I'm sure will be everyone's favorite, a downtown cul-de-sac. How dare you, Phil? How dare you? But we're going to do it. So there we go. And we've got some weird stuff that happened to the roads here. I don't know when I did this. I'm sure that you were looking at your screen wondering, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? And would he stop? I have fixed it. There we go. And I do think we're going to extend this a little bit more. And again, we've got some zoning oddities happening here. So I'm going to get rid of those. And actually, while I'm doing this, let's just upgrade this and make this the parking facility it should be. So I'm going to turn collision off for the time being. We'll get these upgraded. Get our collision back on. Move it. Slide these over. This one we're going to change so it's just access. And then through here, we'll have some accessible parking. And there we go. I think that that would be a very valuable parking lot through here. The connectivity to the back of the buildings, very important. And I think that this would be very plausible and reasonable and realistic here. This does make me think that I didn't design this road quite right. So I think that we are going to call a mulligan here and do the exact same thing over here. We do still need to have roads back here though. And actually, truthfully, no, we're not. We'll add that there and we'll just have some extra large lots. They can all share this parking. It'll be a great way of utilizing that space. And now we'll bring our zoning back here and we are in a good place. I think that we should add in this right back where it was before. And with that, I think we see our layout for our little community. And I'm feeling very, very positive about it, except for this water problem here. And we're missing a cul-de-sac as well. So let's get those added. Okay, and then one more road that's missing is over here. So again, we're going to make the space that we need to fill this area in. And we're missing zoning there as well. That really bugs me. There we go. So we'll add in a roadway right here. And I'm wondering if we can line this up. It's more or less right here. We'll make that extension through there. And then right here, this would actually make it the same block length as some of our other blocks in the community. So we'll need to cul-de-sac this one out here. And then scoot this over again with move it. I'm feeling very good about this. I think that this is a logical layout. We've got some work to fill this in, and I don't want to rush it. I think that sometimes it can be really attractive to just rush and rush and rush, and it's just not something that we should be doing. We should take our time with this. We are absolutely going to. So I think with this, with our nice little layout, we are going to scoot on over to this roundabout and see if it's necessary, and it absolutely is. So this is going to be the final thing that we work on today, and I'm going to let this thing roll. We're going to roll with it. So what we want to do is back this out similar to this. So I want to see how far from the center of this. Looks like we're 11 units to get this to line up from the railroad track. And then let's look at our contours and look at that. That's terrible. This is going to be a really challenging spot to work with. Control H down to here, and then we will just level out a nice pad for ourselves. And there we go. Now I needed this because we're going to roll O and add a roundabout here. We're going to go 44 again because that's our favorite number. Add that right there. Looking terrible. We will make it look better. So we're going to have to call a mulligan on this road. Pretty significant mulligan because this is not going to work the way it's lining up right now. And what we've got to do, the very first thing we need to do is go straight back for just a little ways with our road because we don't want to fall into a roundabout if we can avoid it. And then I want to slope the terrain from here to here. We'll slope it right up. Now we'll get this up here. Beautiful. Now this connection is going to be a bit of a trick now because you see that we've got some terrain issues. So now we are going to need to pull this back around and have a frontage road. Though it's a lot of redundant roads, which, might frustrate you, this is what you have to do in terrain. You can't do what you want all the time. You've got to do what makes sense. So I want to clean some of these roads up. So let's just slope these and see what we're working with. Got about 8% right there. We can flatten that out. Looking better. Here as well. Now we're at 4.9 all the way through. Looking good. Now we've got our new bus road that we've got to adjust. So I'm going to pull this on out through here. And this one is going to be considerably more challenging. And I think we're going to call a mulligan and do this all from the get-go. Now here, I think that we can go with what we have. And there we go. It's all about making the connections look reasonable in this one. And there's a lot of sweeping movements. We're working with our terrain. We're trying not to do things that aren't reasonable. And I think it's working out to a pretty decent effect here. And then again, into our node controller, we need to spread these out. Now I'm going to take this node and drop it down to this height so we have a nice movement through here. And now we need to make some more adjustments again. So this is going to be for sloping. So again, we want to slope from here up to here. And I wonder if we should bring this back even further now. 5.2, that's feeling a little bit better to me. All right, very, very good. I think that this is looking good. Our bus route is not happy though. So we've got to fix this bus route, and that should fix that bus route. Now we've got our purple route looping around here using our new facility, which is what I was hoping. Looking good, and then it pulls into the city. I'm not going to wholesale revise the bus routes right now, but I do think that it's something that in the near future through Evergreen, we need to rethink this, because I think that our little expansion completely blew up our bus routes through here. Editor Phil here, and I saw that too. No. We've got to set this up and do some of our marking. So let's start with our marking. I'm going to go Control L into here and just copy this. You can Control Shift C this. I like hitting buttons. And then we'll come through here and just paste. Looks good. Apply it. Same thing all the way around. And this one's different. So I think we're going to eliminate our bus lane a little bit before here, so we don't run into these problems. And that should help us out. And then through here again, we'll paste this through, looking good. Now this little segment right here, I forgot to drag everything out. And as a result, it's looking pretty bad. So we can get those fixed right now. And I do want to upgrade this road as well. Yeah, I like that a lot more. And we'll upgrade that segment. And now it's pretty consistent through here. Now what we're missing is this to be set appropriately. So we will set this again. We will adjust our speeds again. We are going to copy in some of our work that we've already done over here. Our roundabout work in the center. And I know I've seen some comments about this, like, should there actually be this amount of landscaping through here? I actually think this is a great thing because it prevents a driver from seeing that the roundabout is completely clear. And as a result, they slow down and look before they just merge in. So that's the main reason why you add that. And the reason why you don't add the trees right on the outside is if there is a truck that needs to, for whatever reason, pull up into this area with the flowers or the grasses, they can get away with it. So oversized, trucks could certainly make it through here. We facilitated that. So that hides our little utility box too, which I like. It's in there. We don't have to look at it. And our roundabout again looks very, very nice. And look at this. It didn't even take long and everything is looking very, very good. There is a lot of traffic here though, and I think that this is another rationale. We've got our 4-lane road right here. I think that we are going to continue, or finish, I should say, our upgrades along this road here. And now we have a continuous path through here to get traffic moving. We also need to do a little bit of prioritization before we go. So we're going to do that. And wow, that is bizarre. Why would traffic be doing that? So yeah, that's the concern actually. So let's do this. We'll come through here and just say you can progress right through. Yeah, that's really helpful. You see a lot of folks using this. I think that we're going to editor fill again, and I think we're going to have to handle these galloping cars by removing that node in the next one. Solidify this by looking at our junctions here. Actually, let's just signalize this. I think it's warranted. There's enough traffic here. There we go. Now for priority, I did talk about priority. We could come through here, and when you have TMPE on, priority is a little bit different. So when you click on this and you go into just the roads rather, you can see what every road coming into here would have. So I want every road going into Forest Street to have these stop signs. So we're going to add that. And then we've got to double check because some odd stuff will happen. Like through here, again, roundabout priority. That's going to be more important. Then same thing through here, stop signs. And then we don't need this stop here. So we'll need to adjust this one manually. And then on this road in particular, I think we're going to signalize this because this is our collector connection to our arterial couplet. So we are going to want to make sure that we have good movements through here. Now on this, we should do the exact same thing. So we're going to set priority, adjust this road, and we'll do the stop sign thing again. And at this junction, we're going to signalize. So we will come through and add a signal here. And that's because of the amount of traffic we expect to see through here. And then right here, we've got our stop sign right here. This was supposed to be a signal, but because of our selections, it modified it. So just got to be cognizant of that and be cognizant of this as well. Again, set this up as a roundabout because we mucked it up when we changed this. There. I think that should fix everything that we just changed. And these could be set up as time traffic lights in the future. And you start to see that there's almost a couplet forming through here as well, which is interesting. So because of the amount of traffic here, I'm going to add signals there as well. And then through here, I am quite pleased with how it has changed things. We're looking good, prioritizing the movement around here. Now that we've made all of these adjustments, I'm very curious to see where our traffic flow is. 76%. 77, not great. We're going to let it go for just a moment and see if things clear up now that we've made so many adjustments to our transportation network. Okay, and things are really bouncing around. We'd never touched 80, which is kind of what I was hoping for, but that's okay. I think that the number of places where we have this terrible stopping is dramatically reduced. And over time, we'll make some more targeted improvements to get things to be better. It looks like we're seeing a lot of our problems right here through Couillard. And that makes me think that there could be value while we're over here. We'll make one more improvement. Well, again, we have our collision off. We'll just upgrade this to be a 4-lane road through here. We have freight traffic mixing in with our general purpose traffic, creating all sorts of problems through here. So this is another important road. And wow, we've got some sad people in Couillard Shores. So we're going to need to definitely focus on that at some point in the future. Looking at this now, yeah, that capacity was desperately needed through here. So very, very good. I think that we need to take inventory of what we've done. We'll have a brief city tour. Okay, and with that, I am really, really loving this community, but we got one more thing that we've got to do, and that is add in some of your naming conventions. Now, this is funny. I actually placed in the word banana after most people drop off in the video, and I figured I would find just you that are really dedicated and focusing on the videos and watching all the way through. I figured I'd find you and give you an opportunity to name something. And the funny thing is, I had more comments on that video than most videos I've released in the last little while. 1,180 at my last look, and that's 800 more than the previous episode. So you guys are paying attention. You guys are sharp, and I'm going to have to find other ways. So that said, I'm not going to be able to get 1,180 names in here, but I am going to take a couple that are really great. So first of all, Matt Davis says that we should have a naming convention for the entire city named after evergreen trees. And that is something that Michaela also thought would be an interesting thing. So we're going to go through and name a couple of these. I think that the main street he thought should be Conifer Drive. We're going to absolutely do that. And this will be Conifer Drive. And then we will add in some of Michaela's suggestions, such as Blue Spruce and Red Cedar and Pine Street. Now, Toby Scott says that we need to have a Miller Street in here named after Sophie Miller, the very first person to use our passenger terminal. And I love that idea. We'll have Miller Street as our couplet, and we'll rename this right here Raymond Street. We'll make this Miller Street or Maple Street as well. And now we have Ray Rhodes, who's from Sheboygan. What he says is that in Sheboygan, every other street is named after one of the Great Lakes, and I absolutely adore that idea. So we are going to go for that, and we're going to use the two closest ones right here. This will be Superior Street. This will be Michigan Avenue. And those are the two closest ones, and those are the two that are actually inside of Superior, so I think we'll go with that. In fact, this would be Lake Michigan right here that you're seeing, so I think that that makes a ton of sense. Next, Taran Quinn says that we should name some more streets after other trees in the area. So we have Linden, Oak. I like that as well. So we are going to absolutely do that. And I appreciate the kind words. Let's get naming some streets. And obviously we need a Linden Street, and we'll have an Oak Street as well. And then I really, Shane says that we need to have a clearing way. And if you think about the number of trees that we cleared through here, oh my goodness. Yeah, we need a clearing way. So right here, we're going to name this Clearing Way. And actually, it can't be this. It can't be this. We can have a way as a short street, but it can't be a long one. So we'll have Clearing Way right here. And then finally, we have a comment from Robert Roger, who says that we should have some streets named after local fish. And I love the idea of that. So we're going to add in, we'll add one right now. We'll make this a bass street. And I like the idea of this one because it goes right out to the coast. We could also do something here if we wanted, although Conifer Street should really be looping around here. Let's adjust this road. There we go, all the way around. So we've still got some more streets to name. And I think I'm going to add some more in, but if we're going to add in more streets, I want you to include the word Linden. And if Linden is in your comment, then I will know that it's for a street name. And with that, I think that we're going to leave it here. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I've had a lot of fun today working in this little community, and I think we're starting to bring some life to it, make it feel like a unique place. We're going to, in the next episode, work on finishing this area out, and then after that, adding some realism to this community as a whole. So we're going to leave it here. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.